Remember, I always come back at the end to say goodbye, so don't hang up until I have said goodbye. Good evening. It is I, Ron Carr. It is my pleasure to be with you again in this evening. We have been going through many things about you and me and the individuals that we are. That we are each different, but we are altogether the same. Part of that is because you may look at it as God's design. You were designed, as were all those of the human species, to have 2 eyes, a nose, a mouth, 2 arms, 2 legs. And so, in that regard, we are all similar. And our immune systems all work the same or don't work the same, depending upon how we live our lives. And that, in that way, and our beliefs and the way we live our lives and the things that we do is what sets us apart from one another. Now, I am speaking this as if I am one of you, although I am no longer on the earth plane. It is interesting that you should know that I have been on the earth plane in human form in the past, but at this time I am in spirit, and I am speaking to the medium to bring you answers to the questions that you have. Now, as individuals, the questions you have are important to me, and they are, of course, important to you. And we all learn from one another's questions. I have the opportunity to speak to those questions, giving answers that often answer other people's questions. And I hope, though, that you have a separate question you can ask rather than waiting or discovering that I have already answered your question. And so it's my pleasure to be with you again in this evening. So I am ready to take your questions now. Anyone have a question?
I do.
Yes.
I have 2. Actually, one is really interesting. So there's been this tree outside my house, and all the time I do my rituals, I would go outside by that tree, and I did my Ostara. I did my egg burial there, setting my intentions. And I did like my intentions on paper, burned the paper, buried by the tree, and I'm always at that tree doing it. So once the Lionsgate portal just came, the tree fell down. So I'm taking it as, hey, your stuff worked because it took in all the energy. Is that correct?
Well, undoubtedly, it did work. It did. Your tree took in the energy. That's true. Were you trying to remove energy?
You know what? The lady downstairs, she unburied my egg at one point, and then I had to go redo the ritual and put it back. And now the tree is actually just like laying there and just like came out of the root. I'll show it to you actually, which is kind of weird, but I think that's a good sign.
Well, it is possible. If you have been throwing energy at it that is not harmonious with you, that is, the tree will take it up, and it has responded. I don't believe a lot of that energy in that tree, though, all came from you. I think your downstairs neighbor contributed some of the energy to that tree because she is not harmonious with you and often, causes you some trouble. in the way of thinking and things that she says that disturb you. And so you have to let the energy out in some direction. And the tree certainly would have been your target. I guess you will have to find a new spot for your rituals.
Yes. And my second question is, I'm always concerned about health. You know me, neurotic. I always think tumor and cancers. I've been asking my pendulum and it keeps telling me I am healthy and I have nothing to worry about. So I've been having, a lot of sinus issues going on this past summer with sinus infections, eye infections. I get a lot of like pain under my armpit, and then I assume it's breast cancer when I do work out every day. So put two and two together. Then I go to the eye tumors and the brain tumors and sinus things, and my brain just goes out of control to the point that I get anxiety. And recently I've been getting very nauseous, like here in my solar plexus, which is why I was doing some cleansing on it. So I'm just trying to see if like the pain in the solar plexus is related to the anxiety, and if I actually am healthy and my pendulum's telling me the truth and that I don't have to worry about cancers and tumors and that I am safe.
Yes, at this point in time for you, you are safe. You need to get over your anxiety. We have discussed this in the past. And you can only do this by strictly monitoring your mind and saying that, no, I will not think about this. I know that I am healthy. My pendulum tells me so. And the pendulum can only tell you the truth. And it is just you being silly and thinking about these thoughts. And you need to have that attitude about yourself and your thoughts. Whenever you start embracing negative thoughts, say that I am being silly. I don't want to think about this anymore. And I am not. And then force yourself to thinking about something else, perhaps Brahms and Ivy. You can play with them for a minute, which I'm sure will distract you. And that
Yes.
will be of help to you. And you have to find your own solutions for this so that you can stay in this excellent health that you are. We're constantly thinking about the possibilities of tumors and death. Fighting for you at such a young age is not healthy. It does make you ill, whether you think so or not. It is the cause of some illness from time to time, because the illness has not found its manifestation in true illness, but it brings up little things such as the nausea or perhaps discomfort in your arms or under your arms because you are exercising and you are moving those muscles. And perhaps you have done so a little more vigorously or stretched a little bit harder than you, or to go a little further than you have in the past. And it takes time then for the muscles to heal themselves. So be careful not to bring about injury to your own self while you are doing things. You are healthy and fine at this point in time. And I believe you have noticed that your facial complexion has improved.
Yes.
And you were very worried about that at one time, but you could not make it improve in a single day because it doesn't happen that way. It takes a little bit longer for the new growth of skin cells to replace what was there and bring that total freshness and beauty back to your face.
Yes. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Are there any other questions?
I have one.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to finally meet you, Ron Carr. I would like to know, am I on the correct path for not just my spiritual life, but for my business? I'd like to grow it. And is there something I should be doing?
Ah, well, many people ask the kind of question like, am I on the right path? The only way to find that out is to continue to work at growing your business. If you are not successful at it, why then you have to assume that you are trying to do something that is more difficult than the efforts that you are putting forth. And whether your business is successful or not will depend entirely upon the marketing that you do for it. And since I cannot speak definitively of the marketing that you do, I cannot give you advice. If you wish to tell me of that marketing, then I can perhaps guide you to more effective marketing. But that is where you need to put your thought. Is your business in the service of others? In other words, are you providing a service? And that can be a thing, not just a service. If you are manufacturing or creating something that, so it is, when I use the term service, I mean merely is it something that people want in their daily lives? Or do they have to be educated to want this thing? And if it's something that is good for them, but they are unaware of it, that is when your marketing must be educational. And you have to figure out the ways that it will reach your target audience. If this is something that many people desire already, then you are only needing to figure out how best to reach your target audience in the area in which you live. Is it something that is exclusive to your area? And then perhaps you would like to enter into, this is the summertime, those advertisements, I will call it, in the park where they have a day, a town day, where they have, or at the fair, where they have opportunities for people to purchase tables or space where they can talk about and discuss the services that they give to others. This way, they have that opportunity for the people who are visiting the fair or that town day that you are at, that you will spend the money that you need to spend on these things so that people can meet you and know the products that you offer in person. And this is good marketing of yourself. You can do all the towns around where your business is located. And that way you extend the personal touch and people are aware of you. If you are masseuse, then you can tell them about the massages that you give, the different types, and how you can help them through massage. If you are a beautician, then you can display some beauty products. So when you ask that question, you must be willing to give me the pertinent information that you want to discuss, rather than the blind. And this is how I am going to find out if I am truly talking to this person who is in spirit. I can look it up, but I do not choose to do that. And your answer and my answer to you will be most effective if you are willing to share a few details. So, how much do you want to continue this business? Because it is always difficult to be an entrepreneur and be in your own business. you have to work many hours longer than the average person, assuming that the average person puts in 40 hours during their week. You probably have to do more, because after you have
Yeah.
figured out your marketing and found out how to purvey it, you have to prepare all the materials yourself or hire someone else to do this, which are costly. And since you only earn what money you earn, it may not afford you hiring people to do the work. You may have to do it yourself. But it can be extremely gratifying when you have reached the level of success that you wish to work at. I do not know if I've been helpful at all. Would you wish to expound on your question?
Sure. I am a massage therapist, and I'm also a beautician. I do skincare, and along with the different modalities of medical massage and relaxation massage. And funny that you touched on getting out there and doing like fairs. I've been doing that. I work 7 days a week, 12 hours a day if I have to. Sometimes I work for free, depending on the person's needs. If it's a healing thing that they need and they just don't have the money, I always help. So for me, I wasn't sure what avenues I should take. That it would be mail, would it be, I know I will continue to get out there and see people. I teach classes. So
It sounds like you are doing a good community outreach so that people should become aware that your business is there. Mailings do work, postcards, that type of a thing, but you need to perhaps have a come on, a coupon, or if you call me before the end of the month or whatever you choose, you can get a 10% discount or a 5% discount or a free product if you are giving away if you have skincare products. I'm sure it sounds like you're doing an excellent job, and you are putting the efforts in the right areas. So you are getting yourself known. Sometimes what is helpful is also visiting churches in your area. Sometimes there are church bulletins, and you can, for a very inexpensive price, get your name posted in the bulletin. And if the minister or other people in the church say, remember to patronize our sponsors, then they are asking for you, for people in the parish or the church to approach you and use your service if it is something that they want. And you have seemed to be doing an excellent job of community outreach, which is, in your line of work, is what you need to do.
Mhm. Okay, thank you.
You are most welcome, and I'm glad that you are here tonight. Are there other questions from anyone?
Hey, hello.
If you could talk a little bit about using healing. Why would a person do that?
You're breaking up, Elizabeth.
You are breaking up so that I was not able to understand most of what you said. Would you repeat yourself, please?
I was asking if you speak a little bit about using crystals for healing.
I got crystals for healing. You are interested in using crystals for healing?
Yes, that's what I would like to ask your information.
Crystals for healing can be a very effective way You have learned some healing modalities already, and utilizing a crystal at the same time that you are yielding other healing modalities can increase the power of that which you are doing. Do you understand?
Yes.
It is, I'm still having difficulty. You are breaking up, not every word is coming through. So to research and find out the vibration of certain crystals, so that you're aware of, or the opportunity for you to embed these crystals among your person in the form of necklaces with the crystals on them, or hold them in your pockets, or wear it as a bracelet. These things then can channel more energy, help you to channel more energy through your hands to the people you are seeking to heal. And of course, as you are going through this, I do not know what you are thinking as you are healing, but sometimes people pray while they are healing. And just to remember to put this in the form of positive statements and knowing statements that say that you know that this person is fully healed in every way, that they are in perfect health, and think of them as being in perfect health, and know that they are receiving all the right correction and adjustments to whatever it is they have been feeling, and that they are now cured and balanced in every way, that you know that they are now perfectly healthy in every way. And that is also, you can add that as you speak. So crystals can heal. If you are speaking of using them for yourself, if you have a particular area that you are concerned about, you can take the appropriate crystal and put it under your pillow at night, so that the vibration will be near you and can have an effect upon you. And of course, you can always put more than one crystal under your pillow, so that you can cover a wide range of many things. So it takes some knowledge, but there are books and research you can do on the different types of crystals, and you will acquire the knowledge that is necessary to use them most effectively.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
Hello.
So,
I was wondering, when someone dies from a traumatic death and they go into spirit, but then they come into another life and they bring that fear with them. So it affects their new life in a sense. But does that mean that they kept the fear with them when they died and took it into spirit with them and held on to it?
that is an interesting question. Thank you for asking it. So a person dies, what should we say, in an automobile accident, with an explosion or a fire, and having the person afraid, fear
Anything that would traumatize them. I mean, like some people may die in a fire and they'll just let it go, but other people remember the fear of the fire, the scariness of dying or whatever, or even somebody drowning.
A drowning death, or a
It depends on the person how they feel. Yeah.
No, it is not really that they bring that fear into spirit with them. When you're in spirit, you do not have those type of fears because you are aware of your true nature as a spirit, not as a human being. And as a spirit, you are indestructible. And as such, you know that whatever was the cause of your transition was not something that you held on to in the spirit world. It is gone. Now, having said that, why is it some people come into a new incarnation bringing with them a fear of drowning or water or excess anxieties, as you all have heard demonstrated by a person who is here? Or why do they have a fear of fire or accidents or any abnormal fear which is paralyzing to them? This is frequently not because of how that previous life ended, but it is more as a challenge within the new life. Within everyone's new life, you have certain things which you usually choose to bring into the new life. And you set that up by choosing the parents and the situations and places where you will be born, the time. It is a complicated process. The astrology of the possible new birth, you have many things that go into choosing the new life that you will live. And you also will choose challenges that you will have to overcome to give you the knowledge and the wisdom that you are seeking to manifest before the end of your life. And so some of these fears, or a fear, you could, in a sense, bring into your life, especially as there may be no reasonable explanation for why you have such a fear of water or drowning or falling, of heights, whatever it happens to be, that you are afraid of fires. If there's no trauma involved in the new life, then it is probable that this has come from a past life, and you have chosen this as something to overcome or live with in the life, and to handle it in a different way in this life, in this new life that you are entering into. You choose certain things to happen at certain points in your life, so that you might say there is predestination, but it is probabilities. You are setting up a life that will probably cause you an unhappiness or a difficulty or something happening traumatic to you in this lifetime, because every life contains difficulties. And in every life, you become better by overcoming your difficulties. You work at getting better and better and knowing your life. So, as a result, this is normal to have challenges in life. It is how you grow. It is how you can perfect yourself, so to speak. It is how you can learn that you are one with God. That, in a sense, in a very real sense, you are God. You are your God. You create the life that you live, and you create the goodness, and you create sometimes the difficulties in your life. And you may need to learn certain things to stop creating difficulties for yourself, to take advantage of wisdom of others. Gives you an inspiration of what you need to do through the observation of how other people handle their lives. Those people you admire who always seem to do things right, at least to the way you think, to the way they think. It may not be right at all, however, or they may find it very difficult. However, you will see it that way, and you will be inspired to change and do what you need to do to enjoy your life and be successful and happy. So, it's not the same trauma that you brought into spirit. It was left here on earth when you died, and the way you were thinking as you were dying, as you were perishing, as you were leaving your body, as the body could no longer sustain and support you because of the situation. So it became what you left behind and entered into the fullness of knowledge and understanding. You had no fear. But you may choose to have that fear in the next life because it is a challenge for you and it is a stage of growth for you. So I think that answers your question. Do you have any further questions on that?
No, that sounds good. I was thinking if somebody came that was afraid of fire, well, if they realize they're afraid of fire and they don't want to be anymore, they could become a fireman or something, to help get
Yes.
over it.
They could become a fireman and understand fire more and know that because there is a fire, it is possible to lose your life, but to be brave enough to continue to work on that and to fight the fires and also help people, since firemen are tremendously wonderful at helping people. They need to do that, but because it is their job.
Yes, yes.
So it can be whatever they wish to be, or be a policeman. It may also give you that type of training and understanding so that should you have an emergency of someone, that you would be able to perhaps fearlessly run into the fire, as many policemen have done, and even people who are not policemen fearlessly move into the fire and rescue other people, and of course save themselves to demonstrate great courage.
And I presume, at least I'm guessing that if somebody were to do that, like maybe somebody is afraid of fire, but they see some house burning, they run in and save somebody, would that then make their fear go away?
If they did it in spite of their fear,
Yes.
I would think so, but I could not tell you for sure, because that could be an individual reaction for an individual person. Don't always know how someone is going to react. And even though they may have had a fear of fire and they ran into the fire to help someone else, or an animal even, then that does not mean that they will stop their fear, lose their fear of fire, because fire is still dangerous.
Well, that's a sensible fear.
Yes, it is a sensible fear to be careful around fire.
Right.
In situations that could cause fires.
Okay. I think I got it. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
I have a question,
Yes,
Rankar.
yes.
When I get acupuncture, they say that my liver channel needs help, needs attention. It's related to anger. I wonder, how can I release stuffed anger? Anger that
Are
that I'm
you,
not that I'm not aware of holding, but at times it's just below the surface on certain things.
so you sense that you are getting angry from time to time over certain things. Is that it? But you're not expressing it?
I'm wondering, since the acupuncturist says that there's a lot of anger coming out of my liver area or
Well,
stored there.
there is always the possibility that your acupuncturist is not correct.
Mm. Okay.
And it is not necessarily so. She is sensing some energy somewhere and thinking that it appears to be stuck. And so we assume that she is sensing correctly, but we do not know this for sure. If you do not find yourself getting angry frequently, if you got, let me rephrase that. If you were all the time running into situations which brought up the feeling of anger toward the person that you are dealing with or that you are observing, then you can assume that your acupuncturist is correct. But if it's not an emotion that you are feeling on a regular basis, then I would be saying every day, then your acupuncturist is not correct. And the reason for her feeling, the liver cleanses the body of many toxins in many situations. And so it is possible that what she is sensing is a different energy that is not being cleared from your body. And in which case, perhaps you can, you might be aware of that. What type of a problem do you have most tolerating, that you have difficulty tolerating, so that you would find that to be more probable of what she is feeling. Since the liver cleanses all kinds of toxins, that she can easily be displacing it on anger because of her own experiences, when it could be sorrow or frustration, not so much anger, but frustration, impatience. There could be some of those things which could be what she is sensing. You see, that is something when you are dealing with psychics and people who are sensing through their non-physical senses, but through their psychic senses, let us put it that way, that they are in error as to the interpretation because of their own experiences. Not everyone who is psychic is clear in all areas. And if she or your acupuncturist happened to have an issue with anger or had angry people in her life that she had dealt with in the past, it is entirely possible that this is what makes her think that she is getting this from you, because she has dealt with it so much in the past. And it's just an error of her interpretation of what she is sensing. So
Thank
it
you,
is a-
Rankar.
it is a word to those who speak to psychics. Just to be careful.
I-
Have an additional question, please.
I think that when she mentioned it on a couple of occasions, I might have taken it to have been more significant than it was. I mean, she may have neutralized it then and it's healed.
Yes,
And I may have taken it on as an ongoing situation when actually it's not any
Right.
longer.
that it was an observation of the moment that she was speaking of and taking care of
Yeah.
as she was dealing with you. Yes. So if it does not seem right for you, forget about it.
Thank you. God bless you, Rankar. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your blessings. Are there other questions? And I want to thank everyone for asking your questions so far.
Am I allowed to ask another question?
Oh, absolutely.
Can you tell me what it's like in your realm? Are you in the spirit realm or?
Yes, I am in the spirit realm, and it is an excellent question. I am glad that you asked it. People don't always ask the obvious questions. What it is like to be alive in spirit. In many ways, it takes, in a sense, getting used to. Because when you are in spirit and do not have the body obstructing you as it can and does, for so much of your thought and your way of being is concerned with the body, that there's almost a new way of thinking that has to evolve, because just as you have friends and acquaintances, family members, so it is that in spirit you have friends, acquaintances, and family members, people that you have shared lives with in the past. And these people are, it is very difficult to describe, because there is no body and no distance. These people are immediately available to you on a one-to-one conversational relationship if you wish it. If you do not wish it, if you do not want it, then it does not need to be in your life. So there is this beginning when you first enter into spirit. It is adjustment, an adjustment to realize that you are part of all these people and you are yourself. And so it is just difficult, in a sense, in the beginning. Otherwise, there is complete and total freedom. There is total happiness, total understanding, in the sense that you continually can learn and understand anything that you want to know or understand. Knowledge comes to you easily the only thing you cannot do when you are in spirit, which is possible on the earth plane, is that you cannot create. You can observe. You can try to help others, but you are limited in what you can do because many things on the earth plane are too dense for you to manipulate or change. And so you can only watch your loved ones that you left behind. You can try to influence them with answers if they are asking questions, with guidance. And that you can often do quite effectively, depending upon how big is your desire and how those on the physical plane may be asking about you, or may be thinking about you, or may be asking you questions. So you can provide information even though you are not, as I am at the moment, speaking through a medium, that they can hear you in their mind, but many times they disregard you because it's just their imagination. That's what they think. While it could be you sending them love, healing, solutions, answers, help. You can do these things that are most easily accomplished on the mental level because you cannot do things on the physical level. And of course, you really cannot do things on an emotional level, which people in the physical are most concerned with the physical and emotional levels, while the mental level is the most important for them. They often do not recognize this, and it is hard for you to give them the information that they need, since they may not be utilizing the mental level, not looking for solutions, not assuming that they can get help from you. So when you are seeking to be successful in your business, you can ask the help of your mom or dad or anyone that you wish. And you can try to listen to it and take the guidance that pops into your head for no reason, or that may be exactly the communication that you need to hear. And it is your loved one seeking to help you at that time and in that way. But the reason people come back to a physical life is because they realize that their prior lives have left them not demonstrating their godhood in the best way possible. See, we are all made up of God, since He created everything that is. So the physical bodies are made up of God. You in spirit are made up of God, more fully and more reflecting perfectly that divine energy. And so you decide you want to come back to the physical plane because you want to do something. You want to create something. You want to be of service or help in a practical way. Whatever your reason, you decide that it is only on the physical plane you can accomplish what you wish to accomplish. And so you set up a reincarnation. I don't know if that answers your question exactly. For it is rather difficult to explain a life, a way of being in which there are no changes, where everything, in a sense, is perfect. You're just being. Your beingness is all you need, and that is all there is. And your oneness with one another, and your recognition of God as the creator, and also your awareness of your oneness with him, which brings you total peace and happiness and harmony. There is nothing that you want, for you are perfect and you are aware of your perfection. Now, I know many people think that there's going to school and there's striving, and there is, in a sense, because you may want it. And whatever you want, you create. And that is not to say that you can create anything physical. You can only create on the mental level. And so you can learn and grow on the mental level. And that is often what you do in the spirit. So, are there any questions you would like to ask about that?
I'm good. Thank you.
That's good. I'm glad that I was able to be of service in that way. And thank you very much for that question, because I think some people thought it was off limits. Are there any other questions?
Yes, if we are aware, and we've returned to this thing many other times, why is it that if we're aware of God, we come back on this plane and people treat each other so miserably and are unkind? Do you not carry that in you? I mean,
No, you do not have that in spirit, because first of all, you do not treat one another. Life is not like it is on the physical plane. No, but why are people unkind? Because they have fears. They worry that what you have may be better than what they have, that you have something more than they have. So there are challenges when you are on the physical plane, because the physical eliminates and separates you from one another. You have that ego, which is all about you. Are your needs met? And people whose needs are not met are often unkind to others, because they see or believe that others' needs are met, and they are often unhappy or jealous. That ego that separates you from one another's, and that is its job, that it is what it is supposed to do. So it keeps you alive. It keeps you well and concerned with yourself. But that concern with yourself can be overreaching that you forget to be concerned for others. And so some people, not all people, but some people fall into unkindness or behavioral mistakes in general. But in spirit, you do not have those things. So you tend to forget about it. And so it can be a shock on the physical plane as you are growing up to discover that some of your friends are not nice. But it is them just being preoccupied with their own well-being. And some people think that it is a zero-sum game. I think that is the expression, that if I have a bigger piece of pie, then you must have a smaller one. They do not realize that the pie simply gets bigger, and that everybody can have their needs met, and everybody can be happy. But they need to work on themselves. They have to work at meeting their own needs. And then they bring about happiness for themselves without inflicting pain on others. And I think you are aware of that. Does that answer your question?
I very hard not to be judgmental, trying to ignore things. You're trying to discern stuff, what's the right thing, is right to be, are these the right people I'm supposed to be associating with. Sometimes it's just very discouraging to watch that some things are not ethical, and sometimes confidence aren't kept. And I just can't get in my head that if we all know that we're part of God, that we don't act that way.
Well,
and I'm not trying to judge anybody, because I myself have my own faults and I'm well aware of them. But I find it hard to know where you're supposed to be and if you're doing the right thing, because I feel a shift that is not always good for me.
well, again, you were breaking up. I believe I got most, I understood most of your question. First of all, you forget when you enter into the earth plane, whatever it was you knew while you were in spirit. You are all determined to say, I won't forget, but you forget. Because the physical body and the physical brain begins to dominate, and it dominates by observing the physicalness of the earth. And so it believes, it understands, and not everyone knows they are part of God. Most people do not understand that they are part of God, and God is part of them, and that they are one with one another. The majority of people do not understand this. So therefore, you cannot expect them to act as if they understood, because they would do better if they understood that, but they do not. And so they cannot act as you would have them act. Now, you did say you had your faults, and I suspect many of those faults are exaggerated to you, or have been exaggerated to you by other people. And it is probably good for you to eliminate that opinion on yourself and just continue to strive to be as good as you could in your personal behavior. And that way, you will make yourself happy, and you will make yourself whole, and you will be complete for yourself. And so you will enjoy your life to its fullest and best extent possible. You will enjoy your times with people when they are at their best. And when they're not, you will simply shrug and say, oh, well, I am sorry they're not at their best today, that they are unhappy, that they are not feeling well, that there is any anything you can possibly think of to explain their bad behavior for that day, whatever you need to make up so you feel good, and allow them to be however they are. Now, I think I have missed something in your question. I believe I forgot something. Did I miss something for you yet?
No, you've answered it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, most people do not know, do not understand that they are made up of God's stuff, as is the rest of the world. They believe that whatever is in front of them is real, and they do not realize that it is an illusion, and much of the creation that they see and know is their manufacturing and their belief that causes it to be the way that it is. And so they will continue to be unhappy until they realize that they are creating their own unhappiness. Partially by wishing for things to be different without actually making any difference or changes in themselves. Are there any questions anyone else would like to ask?
Yeah.
Yes.
You were just saying we're here to make ourselves happy, and we're here to learn and improve ourselves. Okay, so why, when we see other people, okay, why do we feel happy if we see somebody else improving their lives, doing something that we think is good for them? And why do we feel bad for them when they are not doing what we think they should be doing? I mean, if we're here just to improve ourselves, then why are we worrying about or feeling, you know, good or bad if somebody else isn't doing what we think they should be doing?
But not everybody does that.
Oh.
There are some people who feel good when they see other people getting ahead and doing well, and they are very happy about that. And they are sad when they see some people doing things that hurt themselves. And they feel very sad about that, but they realize they cannot do anything about it because there is no way that they can do that, because people are people and will do what they want to do. And so you
But
can
why do we feel that way? Why do we feel that way if we're just here to fix ourselves?
Because you are not in a world in which fixing yourself involves only you. You have other people around you at all times, and you have people for whom you have emotional attachments, such as your children or your grandchildren or your friend. You develop emotional attachments to these people, and you care for them and want them to be happy because that is good. But then some people do not care, even if their friends and family members are doing well, that they feel they are not. Perhaps they are jealous. And so what you are speaking about is not a universal thing, that everyone generally on the physical plane tends to be thinking about themselves and their needs and their wants and their desires and what's good for them. Now, some people find goodness in the well-being of others, especially their friends and family members. But not everyone is like that. Some people actually take pleasure in seeing other people fail and have difficulties, especially if they were jealous about what they perceived to be as an advantage in life, whatever it happened to be, that these people have blown it. In other words, do not use it to their best advantage. And so they feel glad because that person is failing.
Hmm. Okay. I guess that was misconstrued on my end because I thought everybody looked at it that way.
No, not everybody looks at it that way. Just look at the people. Look at Mr. Trump. Now, if we were to, he has many admirers and many people who support him, and he has many people who hate him and wish him difficulties and not success, because he was a successful man, and they are jealous, and so they are happy that he is now having great difficulties, and they hope he never becomes president again. But he has his fans who think he deserves to be president. It's just natural.
Okay.
When you're in the physical world, is difficult.
Yes, that's for sure.
The spirit world is easy.
And why do I want to come back? I don't.
It happens because everyone decides that they want to create again. That is the way in which you are most like God. When you are in the physical, you can create. When you are in spirit, you cannot create. And as much as you learn and know and understand in the spirit world, where everything is consistently good and perfect in every way, then it is like reading a novel. It isn't real. You can't create. You are not God. You're only part of God. And you can communicate, but you cannot create. And as a result, you may decide that you wish to incarnate again on the physical world. And this time, you will create a life that is happier and more prosperous and perhaps healthier, whatever it is you think that you will be able to do in the physical world. Are there any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. In the Old Testament or the New, well, I think it's the Old Testament, Job, it talks in terms of the resurrection of the body, that you know, that there will be out of the graves, or there will be the resurrection of the body. And I don't really understand what that means. Do you?
Thank you. Well, you have it exactly that somehow they expect that you will come back to an incarnation which will be perfect. And that will be the resurrection of the body. And everyone will experience that at the same time. And so, if you've lived more than one life, I assume they're expecting you to choose one body that you liked, that you get to come back in. I am not, you must realize, particularly as much as the Bible and all the holy books are filled with good information. This information is often disguised in the form of stories or ideas which are not to be taken literally. And when you are speaking of everyone being resurrected in the body, well, you can look at that to say that there is reincarnation. You all get your chance to come back in the physical world. And so you could choose to interpret that particular book of the Bible and those sentences and words which speak of this in that way. And therefore, you will see, you can assume and you can agree that every life that you have ever lived was you being resurrected in the body. Is it not? It is logical. It makes sense with what life actually is. That every time you choose to reincarnate, you are being resurrected in the body, a new chance, a new opportunity to lead a wonderful and happy life.
Thank you, Ronka.
You're welcome. So, are there any other questions? There seems to be
Right.
nothing at the moment.
Oh, no, I wanted to tell you, I had every intention of being on time, but I fell asleep and I came in late, and I'm so sorry that I missed a lot of tonight. And I was wondering about recordings. I can't seem to get your recordings anymore. I used to be able to. Is there a link that you can send me where I could listen to what I missed, like with the recording of like tonight's session or a few weeks ago?
Well, I cannot answer that question. So, however, the medium, I believe, might be able to give you an answer to that question. So I'll just ask one more time if there's a question for me, and then perhaps it is time for me to say goodnight.
Okay, I hope to be on time next week. And I thank you for sharing, and I loved what I heard when I
That
did
is good.
check
Okay.
in.
Then I'm going to give you, say goodnight. I give you all my blessings. Good night.
Night.
Right.
Hi, I'm
Ron-
back. I'm back. It's late. I just wanted to say good night to you all. Remember, I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Good night.
Good night.
Okay, I'm back.